Today I'm going to talk about vermicomposting after the rains, or with the heavy rains, or kind of troubleshooting vermicomposting. I don't really see that there's any trouble, but I just wanted to show you I had a really good like a before and after on my cover crop, and coincidentally I actually got to see where the vermicomposter, where I had planted it in the ground, what had happened there. So let's get started. So I'm out here in my yard and I'm checking up on the cover crop that I planted to see how it did and to see, which little microclimates are working. So this area off to what's my right, where there's lots of little green sprouts, is the buckwheat that's already come up. Now, it's been about 7 or 8 days, so we should start seeing fava beans sprout, but this area is all shade, and sorry about that when I waved my hand in front of it. Now, this area down here, I had these all closed. I just took the lids off of the egg cartons, but you can see with the egg carton closed, it gave it a little bit more shade, and it actually did a lot better on sprouting. Actually, I had opened these up, but you can see where the sprouts were sprouting through, where there was a little bit more shade going on. And I think there's a little bit more back there too. But it's been long enough now that some of the fava beans are actually coming through. That they should start popping up, and then I've already got a trellis over them. You can also see some, I thought I saw one over here, but maybe it's already been, oh, yep, right there. Now let's take a look at what the vermicomposter, and the cover crops for that matter, look like after it's been raining for, I think, 3 or 4 days. My allergies are all stirred up, and I'm dealing with all the sinus issues and everything, but I want you to be able to see what happened with this vermicomposter. So I just planted them. I posted that video a few days ago, and now with the rains, it's just kind of eroded away where I had packed it in closer around the top part, and I'm pretty sure it's just collapsed in. I didn't actually take a look inside, which I plan to do tomorrow, but I'm imagining it's just that dirt just flooded right inside with the worms. Now, I'm sure, since I talked about how they're not really liking like a super saturated soil, that people are wondering, okay, well, what happens to the worms? Worms know what they're doing, right? They're not going to stay in an environment that they don't like. And I've had incidents with my own, my bin that I have for indoor composting with the worms, that they just kind of take off when it's not the right environment. So if there was a lot of water, like if that just became a big puddle, the worms would probably take off into the ground or crawling across the top of the soil, wherever they could find somewhere that was actually more what they like. So if there was somewhere underground that was drier, which it very well could be, or anywhere in that area, they might have found a more dry space than in that vermicomposter at that time. I can show you where the side of my house, which if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been having trouble with it flooding because we get so much rain in a short amount of time. That's really the problem, right? We're in a desert-ish kind of environment in Phoenix. And so we don't get a lot of rain throughout the year, but we'll get these short periods where we're getting a lot of rain. And that's where I end up having trouble. So the vermicomposter probably just became one of those spots where water just accumulated. Could I relocate it? I guess I could. I don't really see it as a problem though. I think it's going to create a moist environment. I'm going to go out there and repack that area so that it doesn't become, a place for mosquitoes to go in and breed in there. Other than that, I think the worms are going to take care of themselves. They're surrounded by soil, and they've had to deal with rain plenty of other times. But I wanted to show you so that if you're thinking about setting up one of these systems, that at least you know and you don't freak out about it if this happens to you. As you're getting started, it's always good to see the progress along the way so you can kind of gauge what things look like. You know, how do you want to do something different? I want to be able to show you guys the different stages, how things are developing, right? I had to go back and I pruned a lot of the trees and shrubs in my yard. So my compost pile that's not vermicomposting has actually gotten to a decent size right now. So I was just about to like put a bag of mulch on it so that it would have more woody material, because I don't have a lot of woody material that's being generated by the trees right now that I do have. So I was going to put a bag of mulch on it, cover it with a tarp, and let it start to do its own decomposition just naturally. But then it started pouring rain, and so plants change, right? I'll probably put that bag of mulch on it anyways, just so that it all can get some nice moisture, cover it up, and continue on. But back to getting started, when you're trying to do all of these things and build more of a solid system, there's these foundational things that you have to do. And so a lot of the support system is what I'm building right now. And I'm realizing I probably need to bring in more shrubs that will help just naturally bring in more nitrogen into the soil. I think I'm going to put a little bit more pressure as far as trees so that I can get more growth. I really want some trees to get to a decent height so they can provide shade by next summer. But to do that, sometimes you need to give them more pressure, which means more competition. And I did that in the corner that you saw just a little bit ago. I'll show it again. Where it's a Mexican bird of paradise, and there's a pomegranate tree there, and there was another shrub that didn't make it. It was something from Australia. And then there's the vitex, all in that corner, all within probably a square meter. Now, I could probably put 2 or 3 more in that same little compact area, and that will increase the competitive pressure for resources. And then what happens is they all start to thrive, and it becomes it's like a form of biodiversity. So we'll find out like what works well together and what doesn't. One will get starved out, like one's already has gotten starved out. It just couldn't compete against the other 2 that were right next to it. And then I put a third one on the other side after I lost that one. So I'm just going to keep adding. I want them to get tall. I want them to provide shade. I want the windbreak. So I was just evaluating the whole yard, the whole system, and seeing what I was growing and going, okay, I need to find some sort of bioaccumulating plants. So those are plants that have taproots in them. Or they have taproots. They grow with taproots. Sorry. My brain is so messed up with all the congestion and everything going on. But I need the bioaccumulators. Those will pull nutrients from down deep. And that way I can do like a chop and drop, and the nutrients will be available like on the surface. And that's where we want them, right? Because then other plants can take advantage of that. So I'm really trying to look at, okay, what does the system need in this starting stages? And the worms are just a big piece of that, right? They're actually helping me decompose everything so those nutrients can become available from all the biomass that I pruned, trimmed back, hacked out if you saw my sweet potato video. So something to think about. Definitely planning for this early succession stage where I'm getting my pioneer species in place. And then once I've built up the nutrients in the soil a little bit, I've done a lot of breaking up the compacted soil, which you've seen if you've been following my videos. So what I'm hoping is I'm going to put down like a winter rye, and that will also help fix nitrogen in the soil. And then I'll get these other components going, more trees, because I want that pressure, that competitive pressure going on so that they'll grow. And then we'll be ready for spring. I mean, I'm going to do a few more vegetables. I think I'm going to try and get some cauliflower in. See if I can't get a round of that going. I still got loofah that's growing. I don't know if you realize that loofah grows on a vine, not in the ocean. But I harvested 2 loofah, and I've got probably 3 or 4 more. So tomatoes are still going. I mean, there's all these other plants that are still going along. But overall, in the whole system that I'm trying to create, I've got some more elements I need to add. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, or if you're trying to start your own permaculture system, food forest, whatever, put it in the comments and let's see if we can't figure it out together. All right. Happy growing.